I already filmed this video, but the microphone was off. I turned on the camera and immediately started filming, so I didn't have time to sound check. Hey, not being able to sound check, it falls in line with my story today. About a year ago, I was at an open mic, and I used to do open mics before the pandemic. Not super often, about every month or two, because they took a long time to plan, required a lot of willpower and bravery on my part to go out and do, and I didn't always have that. But basically, there were these sort of rap, musical, one-man shows that were like 6 or 7 minutes long. Similar vein to Bo Burnham, you know, how he has all these sound cues and stuff, and, you know, it tells a full narrative with, like, different voices coming at him from different directions. Little bit hard to explain. It wasn't exactly like those. I just have to... My goodness, my nose just decides when the camera starts running that it's gotta run too. It's like, hey, the camera's running. Running looks fun. I'm gonna run. Anyway, it wasn't exactly like his shtick, but it was similar. You know, I was definitely inspired by him. Unfortunately, I didn't film any of them to give you any sort of, you know, visual proof that I used to do these, and they used to go over pretty well. But then last year, you know, restrictions were finally starting to open, and I was like, hey, maybe I could go do an open mic again. So I go out to this open mic. It's run by a different guy, and I didn't know about that, than the one who had done it before. He's pretty new to it. He seems nervous the entire time that he's calling people up. Gets to the end of the night, and he has to cut everybody's act by like several minutes. So I go on way sooner than I was expecting to, and I have to cut like a minute or two out of my act, which totally throws off my whole performance. I don't have time to sound check or anything. I can't hear the beats very well. I'm rapping off beat for a strong portion of it, even if it's not a majority of it. It's like a third to a half of it. I'm struggling. I'm listening for the beat. And it overall just isn't a good performance. But, you know, it feels good to kind of be out there expressing myself. You have to deal with a not great performance every once in a while. And it can only cut about as deep as, you know, you allow it to. But then I sit down with my friend who's there, who's also performing. Didn't know she was going to be there. I'm like, okay, cool. I've known this girl, you know, since like middle school. Haven't talked to her in some time until pretty recently. Had a phone call with her. Like, I'm just saying she's not a super close friend, but I sit with her and her little group of friends. And one of them there, he talks to me. He like introduces himself, and then he says, I actually have some feedback for you. I go, oh, okay, cool, right on. You know, and my kind of socially awkward, but I'm kind of put back. I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like, I don't want to give it to you here, though, so I'll get your number from our friend, and I'll text it to you later. I'm like, what? What? Okay, so it's obviously not a good feedback, otherwise you just say it right there. If it's a negative feedback, dude, just say it to me now. I know that that's a little bit hypocritical because I didn't just say to him what I wanted to say, which was like, if you need to text it to me later, you don't need to bother. You can just shove it right up your behind right now. I'm glad that I didn't say that, but I'm just saying... Like, we could just say what we meant, right? That was an option right there. And he chose not to, and that really, really bothered me. And then, especially because, like, if I introduced my friend to an old, like, kind of acquaintance, and then my friend said to them, hey, I have some feedback about your performance, I would be pissed. I would be so mad at that. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And I don't know what his feedback was going to be because I was open with them. I was like, man, that didn't go well. Couldn't hear my sound cues or anything like that. It might have been some moral quandary that he had with something that I said. Like maybe the fact that I'm rapping, which I don't even entertain that argument that it's morally wrong for me to do that. And then there's also, you know, maybe there was an offensive punchline or something in there, which I don't know. My stuff is pretty clean cut for the most part. I have no idea. I have no idea what he was going to say, and I never found out. He texted me, I know it was July 30th of 2021, saying, hey, nice meeting you at the open mic. This is his name. And what I was going to do, I had the best comeback planned, and that's the whole reason I'm telling you this, was that on July 30th, 2022, I was going to respond, oh, hey, dude, sorry, I didn't see your message. I was eating a sandwich. But hey, I was really excited to hear your feedback. Now, I think that's pretty funny. The idea that I had an exact year to the day planned out response, but as the time came around for me to do that, I decided, okay, yeah, okay. It's a little bit like Barney in How I Met Your Mother. He goes to the great length of getting back at the guy who stole his girlfriend. It's like, if I'm holding on to that for a full year, who's really the brunt of this joke? It's me. I mean, and I'm really just making fun of myself at that point for holding on to this little offhanded comment. So I decided not to give that comeback, but I still wanted to give it here. Let the world know that I had a really awesome one ready to go that I didn't use. I am sitting on an atomic bomb with my wit, baby.